Well, guys, hey, how you doing? Thanks for coming to Bucket's Garage. My prizes from Mid-Ohio. More projects. I have to make some videos. That's my favorite. I can't wait. I got an engine for it. I just found the seat. I put a seat there. I got another rim. I found all the parts. I got them in storage. Anyway, we're going to get into the Allstate 66 Sears Allstate. But first, I got to clean all this mess here. Get this out. We'll get right back into getting that Sears Allstate done so you guys can see that thing go. So, let's get into this video and we'll get into that Sears Allstate. That's right. Ooh, buckets. Oh. You have it on the lift again. Good morning or afternoon or whenever you're watching this video. All right, I had the engine mounted to the frame and I have the brackets all on and everything, and I'm currently going to show you how I've done this. And it actually fits on there pretty good. So let's get into this and I'll show you how this is done. All right, everybody, what I got going on here is I made the bracket for the motor. Now I'm going to have to put a spacer in between here. You know, like a piece of pipe or something for support. Same with the inside of the frame. I got to do the same. So the bolt goes all the way through. Now it will support that engine. Now down here, I made a bracket. Goes to the part of the frame here. I'm going to have a friend weld that since my welder's down right now, unfortunately. I went to go use it and I'm like, what in the world? Holy buckets. But anyway, we're going to weld this. So it makes this a solid piece to the motor. I got some bar stock. Of course, it doesn't have to have that flange, but I'm just so lucky that I do have a flange on this end. But I'm going to measure that and cut it so it goes in here. I got to cut a piece for inside the frame so it doesn't squish the frame together. So there's a space. This will be inside the frame and then also out here. Well, I got the bracket on. Of course, you can't see the inside, but I have it also on the inside. It stops any tweaking of the frame. So if I go around to the other side, I had to make a little tiny spacer for here. So I put a little spacer in here for this side of the engine. I had to do that for the mounting of the motor so the chain would be straight. I have the chain together. That's all set to go. Seems to spin freely. And the chain's straight. If you could look up in there, I don't know if I can zoom in on that. Yeah, it's not too dark in there, but... So that's all set. I could probably go ahead and put this cover back on. Make sure it ain't gonna rub. There we go. Ooh, no rubbing. Awesome. Uh-oh. We had to take the back wheel off. I was backing it up and I was having a problem here. Well, I'm going to show you why. There we go.
Oh no.
The brakes have fallen apart. And kept binding up on me here. Look at that. Yep. I was kind of wondering why I was kind of feeling that. And there's a lot of grease in there. And to clean this up. Lucky, I think there's another set of pads that are in the box of parts over there. So, I'm going to get them in there. Maybe do a little bit of grease in here. The bearings. Check out the bearings. You know the bearings seem to be good. I got it in the vise. Alright. Well, let's get into that. Well, we got that Wheel mounted back up. Look at that. Moves a lot more freely, that's for sure. I'm still going to have to find some brake pads yet. So I'm going to do some investigating on that. But for now, we got the wheel back on. I may have to try to glue those pads back on if they're unattainable parts, but I'm sure I can find some out there. Pook, I think is his name, is Pooch, or however you say it. I could be saying it wrong, guys. I know. Pooch, however you want to say it. P-U-C-H. Maybe I can find brake pads for a moped that might fit. As the foot peg situation, what I did is I found some aluminum stock, cut it for a spacer, and then I used some of this aluminum stock here. I'm sorry, I don't know the thickness right offhand. Thicker probably the better, I would say, because you know this is where your feet rest. But what I did is I cut it and mounted it just like that. And what I'm going to have to do here is I'm going to mark this here, drill a hole to mount this here part here onto the aluminum. Same with the other side. I could put another one here across, but it goes at an angle, so it's going to be kind of tough. I mean, it's bad enough that I got a little bit of an angle there, so I'm going to put a little spacer in there, but that'll work. It's going to hold, and I think I'm going to be able to use the brake pedal. It's touching the exhaust, but it should be fine if I adjust it correctly. I'm going to have to make a new cable. This cable's shot. Cable goes through here, runs through here, and then into the brake. So I'm going to have to figure that part out. But right now, it's coming along. From this point, we'll go from this point. Where this point is, which I don't know yet. I'll look it over. This wiring harness first here, I had to take that plate out of there. It's kind of riveted on, well, it's spot welded on. A little bit of a tough time getting it off, but I did it without making any damage to the outside of the frame. That's so the harness can come through here, and it's going to come out over here. Unfortunately, I think I'm going to have to make that hole a little bit bigger for the harness. So let's get that done, and I'll show you how it looks when I'm done with that. Because the battery's going to have to go in here. The solid state ignition, the regulator, relay, and we'll go from there. Now what I did is I brought the wiring to this hole here. That's the engine wire going up into the frame. Of course, this is the key ignition here, which I'll have to take care of. And this is your brake light switch, which will have to be engaged for it to engage the starter. The coil wire. And the rest of the wiring has come on up here, of course. Now, and yeah, there's a big old mess here. So I'm gonna have to straighten this stuff around. I'm gonna make a couple places where I'm gonna hang, you know, like your CDI somewhere in here. Of course, your voltage regulator. It looks like a wiring nightmare, don't it? But I'll have it all straightened around. Maybe shorten some of the stuff up. But it's all contained in here. The battery will be in here, and then I'm going to probably make a bracket of some sort of hanging everything else there. That's for the motor, the key ignition. I thought about drilling a hole to put the key ignition here, but I just don't want to do it. I might hang this off to the side. The only wiring, I did not have to drill a hole here. That hole was existing. I cut the switch off. These are for the headlight. Then your kill switch and start, which I'm going to try to integrate the original switch. So I took this apart. See, that's a kill switch, headlight switch, and it color coded so I can figure it out. Got the switch apart. This is for what you see on the handlebar. This is going to be for start. Well, actually, I'm going to make this one the start from underneath. Actually, it goes this way. This will be for the horn. That'd be for the start. It was actually really nice inside. Not too bad. And it's grounded, so that'd be perfect. And the negative side, what they do is they hit this terminal and this terminal. So this one will be the start. This one will be for the horn. And this one will be NA. And then I got my off, high beam, low beam. It'd be worked out perfect, but I'm going to do some rewiring because old Fluffy here got in there and chewed up these wires, and they're black, nasty. So I'm just going to rewire it. And what's nice about it, this switch is pretty unique. Those flat heads, screws, like I just loosen them, put the wire will come out, put the wire back in, tighten them up, and I'm good to go. No soldering necessary. Love that idea. All right. So let me get this all done here, and we'll show you when it's done. All right. I remounted the switch. I got my wiring here. So yellow is going to be for the start. Green is going to be for the horn. Brown's your main power in for the headlight. Then you got your high beam as white, and blue is going to be your high beam. White is going to be your regular light. So I'll wire that in up here. Well, the switch is all mounted and the wiring is in. Of course, I got your high beam, your low beam. This is going to be a kill wire for a switch. I think if I put a switch in, it's going to be through that hole right there. I'm going to put a little push button in there for a kill switch for an emergency use. Of course, your brown wire for your headlights. The green was for the horn. And the yellow was for the starter. And I left the bottom button for the starter switch. Don't want to focus. Okay. Top's going to be for the horn. This is going to be for your headlight, which will only come on when the engine's running. Down is off. So that is done. As for the internal, I have a battery, which is a gel cell. It's not quite done in here yet. I still got to mount all the switches across here. Well, not switches, but the voltage regulator, CDI box, and the relay for the starter. And then I'm going to tighten these wires up nicely. Make it so they don't short out. So that should be done with the wiring. All right. Now we got that key switch mounted on this side of the tank. This is off a Honda Dream or some Honda. Not really sure, but hey, it was perfect. It fit there good. Wire comes up, goes underneath. The original cover for this bike actually fits over this engine. Coming to a YouTube channel near you. The feature of the carburetor. Yeah, I'm going to show you how I mounted this carburetor and what I had to do to make this cable work. It was kind of fun. All right, to do this, I'm using a Trail 70, a ct70 manifold. And all I'm doing is I'm going to flip it around like that. And then mount it that way. So the carburetor is going to be facing toward the front. So it's going to look like this when I have it mounted. So let me get this mounted and show you how it looks. Now that's the way it's mounted. I'm going to have to put a small can air cleaner on here. I'll show you the other side here. And I tell you, that is really a tight fit. Yes, sirree. But it looks like it's going to work. Now, I'm going to have to work on getting a cable to work up here under the existing throttle. So let's see if I can find a cable for this. Well, I couldn't find a cable. So I'm going to take this cable here. Of course, my camera ain't going to zoom in on it. I'm going to cut it off right here and make my own den. We'll see how this goes. And when I did this, I measured. It came out to be 8 inches. So I'm going to cut it here. I needed to be just a little bit shorter to about here. I'm going to cut it here because I'm going to show you how I make my ends. Okay, what I've done here is I've put it in the vise. Right there. And now you really need a nice sharp pair of pliers, cutters, to cut that top off. Clip. And then what I do a little I kind of spider it out like that. Let me get a zoom here. I spider that out. So what I got here is I've got some soldering paste. I have also 60-40 solder. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a ball on the end of this. I'm going to just dip this in here. And then we're going to solder a tip on there. Alright, now the soldering gun I'm using is actually 150 to 230 watts. So you could try this with a torch, but I'm not sure how it would work. I never really tried it with a torch. And it kind of connects and solders up to it pretty good. Now I need to get that closer to the table. Sorry, you won't be able to see it if I do that. Oh, maybe so. All right. So I'm soldering here, getting this tip on there, getting it nice and hot. The camera woman just showed up. No, that's fine. All right. Now I got that little soldering ball on there. Doesn't look super great, but you know what? If you don't have a cable and you're trying to make your own, that's how I do it. And it should hold. The grinder here. Oh, look at there's my Bill and Ted CD. Oh, I wonder where that was at. So anyway, I'm just going to trim this up a bit. Give it a nice smooth surface. Everything around it. So it fits in there nicely. Okay. Looking good. Alright, so I have it in there. It's hard to see here. Let me get some zoom in there. Cable's in. Holding pretty good. And the throttle's working. Think I need to, there's an adjustment in here. So I can adjust that so I can make it a little bit tighter. But I think we're going to be good to go on that. The throttle cable established, carburetors mounted. And now we're going to put the exhaust on. Let's try the exhaust. I tried a different couple of ideas for that. But let's work on getting this on. I'm actually going to use a Trail 70, aftermarket Trail 70 exhaust. Yes, I have a disaster going on at this table, guys. Yes, I do. Including my hams. But, hey, it's a working garage. I know I should clean this up. Anyway, we're going to put this exhaust here. And I'm going to get it to mount onto the shock tower. I'll show you how I'll do that. Now I'm going to show you how I did this. So what I did is I took the original nut out and found a thicker nut, but I have plenty of threads sticking out with it tight. Put a washer and a locking nut behind it. Now I'm just going to put a stud in there and tighten up this exhaust. I drill the hole because this wasn't quite the right size. So I'm going to stick that in there. I'm actually going to put a locking nut, a couple washers behind this so it's not hitting the shock. And that's how that will work. Coolness. Now she's mounted, nice and solid. I got the cover off right now. I think that's going to look kind of cool. All right, well, even the original covers fit. It's not quite complete. I still got to put the speedometer on the front with a horn. Well, I want to take this thing for a ride. First time. Still find a place for the key ignition. That's the spare tank. After all these years, when's the last time it was on the road? 1973. It's going to be driven first time since 1973. I'm guessing. Oh yeah. Holy buckets, am I excited, guys. I want to see how this thing rides. And then we're going to finish it up. Hey everybody, guess what? It's the day. Today is the day. Today is the day that we're going to ride the Sears Allstate. You got your sunglasses on? Because Mr. Buckets is wearing shorts today. Yes, it's hot. My white legs. Sunglasses, please. Whoa. Anyway. Well. Now, I had to put this thing together. I put the gas tank on it. It's not functional right now. I got the tank on. I put the covers on to make it look cool for the first ride. Even though it's not quite done. It's far from done. I got a lot of little stuff to do to it. Like the brakes, you know, there's some wiring I gotta do yet. A bunch of little stuff. But this is the initial thing. After 73? 73 was the last time this thing was driven. Okay. Let's give this thing a start and let's see this thing rise. Holy buckets! I'm excited. You know it runs. Yeah, I gotta tighten that up too. Guys, there was his run. I'm not going to drive it all around because I have no brakes. I was thinking I was going to hit my wife's truck. was exciting. Hey, look at that. I left it in here. There we go. So anyway, I even got the tail light working. Oh yeah, I want to show you the headlight too. Oh, the headlight is on. Anyway, there it is. 1966 Sears Allstate. Upgraded motor, electric start, 12-volt system. Without having to worry and put that old junk engine all back together. This is more fun. I love it. So anyway, you guys, if you like this, please like and subscribe. Join the channel. I'll try to put out more content. Matter of fact, those bikes right there, I got to work on those suckers. Those are going to be another project. So anyway, you guys have a great night. Thanks for watching again. And see you guys. Have yourself a great night.